Hello everyone, today I'm gonna show you different raw gold farming locations that you can do as a fresh level 70 character. And most of these clips has been recorded on a character with rare gear, but no enchants and no gems. This is also to give you an idea of what will be possible on the upcoming fresh servers for those of you who actually managed to reach level 70 in the pre-patch. The first farming location takes place in Shadowmoon Valley at this location near the Black Temple. Before you start doing the pulls, there's one thing you need to be aware of. An elite is patrolling in the area, so make sure to mark this so you don't accidentally pull this at the same time. If you're new at this location, just make sure to pull a few of them to learn about the damage, but also how many you're able to kill at a time. And then you can slowly increase the amount of monsters that you pull. You can even go to this location before you're level 70 to get some experience at the same time. Just remember it's an open world spot, so there might be competition. In Shadowmoon Valley, there's yet another decent raw gold farming location. What I usually do is to mount up and pull between 5 to 10 at a time. You can do this as any tank, but most likely also as a mage and even a druid. Just remember that I do this on a fresh geared character, so if I had some decent gear, I could probably pull an additional 5 to 10 more monsters. Another big reason for why I like this location is because there's next to no downtime where you need to wait for the monsters to respawn. So what I usually do is just to run in a circle, and by the time that I get back to the starting point, there will also be new things to kill. In Eastern Plaguelands, you will find an area with so many different humanoid targets. These targets are stacked so well together that it's possible for you to pull 15 to 20 at a time. And the moment you have killed these, you don't need to run too far before you can pull another 15 to 20 monsters. This is a big reason for why I like to go to Eastern Plaguelands, but also because we can do gather professions at the same time. So if you ever need to wait for respawns, then you could always do herbalism or mining. In the zone Tenaris, you'll find the dungeon Sulfur Rack. In this dungeon, you'll have no competition simply because it's not an open world farm. Why I like to farm gold in this instance is simply because you can adjust how many monsters you would like to pull at a time. The way you pull these is simply just to right click on a grave and this will spawn 1 to 2 monsters. Each of these graves will only spawn monsters the first time you click them. So the second time you click on the same grave, you will not spawn anything. This is definitely one of my most favorite gold farms in the pre-patch. You can do this as a low geared character, but the better gear you get, the more gold you can also make every single hour. Simply because the better gear, the more of these graves you can open at the same time. On Isle of Quel'Danas, I like to go to this location. Here you'll find many different humanoid targets, and some of them being casters. The way I deal with this is simply just to pull them and run into a building. This will line up side their cast, so now they're forced to run into the building with me, allowing me to AoE way more targets at the same time. On top of this, I also recommend you to pick up all the different daily quests on Isle of Quel'Danas. This will easily reward you 100 gold in less than 1 hour. And remember, these are daily quests, so tomorrow you can do them once again. Next up is another dungeon farm you can do, but this time it's a Burning Crusade dungeon, also known as the Slave Pens. Just make sure not to pull too many at the same time. If you pull too many, you'll definitely end up dying. So start pulling a few of them in the beginning and get a feeling about the damage. A big reason for why I like this farm is because they drop so much raw silver. We're talking about 30 to 50 silver for every single monster. And on top of this, they also drop other items we can winter to make some more gold. This is either my top 1 or 2 raw gold farm in the pre-patch. You don't need to use the auction house in any way, you can simply just loot a lot of silver and winter all the trash items that you find. Another Burning Crusade dungeon that I like to do is Ramparts. The level of these creatures is a bit lower compared to Slave Pens, so if you struggle in Slave Pens, then Ramparts might be the dungeon for you. Just be aware of 3 things in the dungeon. Some of these targets will disarm, stun, and even apply Mortal Strike to you. So don't pull too many targets at the same time, unless you would like to die. But a big benefit of choosing this dungeon is that these creatures have a high chance to drop cloth and at the same time drop a high amount of raw silver. If you wish to do a dungeon that is a bit more difficult to do, then I would recommend you Zedic Halls. This might also require you to get a bit better gear. You can of course do this as a fresh level 70, but the better gear, the more of these creatures you can also pull at the same time. Some of the benefits of choosing this dungeon is that you first of all can combine this together with the gather profession mining. In the dungeon you'll find so many different veins that you can mine, and on top of this there will also be different chests that you can open. These chests will always have at least 4 to 6 gold and maybe even a green or a rare item that you can vendor as well. One thing you need to pay attention to is that some of these creatures will cast a totem, and this totem will attempt to mind control you. So if you're too far away, you will automatically run back to the totem and all the creatures will evade. So make sure to stay close to the totem during the mind control and you should be just fine. This can also be seen in the clip. I'm close to the totem and the moment I get mind controlled, some of these starts to evade. But because I'm close to the totem, the mind control is over in next to no time and the monsters run back to me. The last dungeon that I like to do is Shattered Halls. But this is also a high level dungeon where most of the creatures are being level 70. But because these creatures are being level 70, they also do a high amount of damage. And on top of this, they will also attempt to stun you. One potion that will be extremely useful in here is simply going to be the free action potion. When you use this, you will be immune to stuns for the next 30 seconds. This is definitely also my most favorite raw gold farm in the pre-patch, but it also requires you to at least be a protection paladin. Some other classes might be able to do this, for example a protection warrior, a feral druid, or maybe even a blood death knight. I haven't tested this yet, so if you have tested it, let me know the results in a comment below the video. Soon I'll release even more pre-patch gold making videos, and in the future how you can make gold in Wrath of the Lich King. If you wish to get notified when I post these videos, then make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. But yeah, as always, thank you so much for watching and have an amazing day. Peace.